Happy day. We're going to talk about joy and happiness. So what is joy? What's the function of happiness? And on the continuum, what's on the other end? We'll get to that in a minute. I happen to draw this in Giants colors because I'm a San Francisco Giants fan and it makes me happy, especially when it's not baseball season, to see orange and black on my board. Happiness tells us that we're getting what we want, stay where we are, keep doing what we're doing. That's its motivation. Its motivation is to keep things the same. How do we attain it? Well, usually it's through accomplishment of a task, and therefore joy finds itself really closely related to interest and excitement as an emotional pairing. So if I'm curious about something and I want to find something out, or I'm excited to go do something, perform, do a competition, the happiness reward at the end is going to be in a successful completion of that. Now, some people have brought up when I do these presentations, they're like, well, what about people who take joy in other people's pain? We just don't have any real good, specific empirical studies to prove that that's a thing. I know it's a pop culture thing. I know we see it in media all the time, and movies and plays and books and songs even. But it's really hard to prove that that happens to most people. So for the time being, we're just going to rest on the idea that joy is great. We want to pursue happiness at all times. But I want you to hang on to that too, because that's a little bit of a fallacy, and assume that it's not a part of any major psychological disorder like some of the other emotional experiences could be. And if we come across somebody who takes pleasure in other people's pain, well, then I guess we can debate that. So what's on the other end of the continuum? Enjoyment is at the other end of the continuum in the chapter. So what joy to enjoyment? How do we even quantify that? Enjoyment is often categorized as the state of being happy. So bliss would be the other end of the continuum. So you can be a little bit happy, you're like, oh yay, I'm satisfied, all the way up to nirvana or whatever, right? This is why you don't want to pursue happiness, though, because happiness, just like any other emotion, is temporary and fleeting. There's an event, there's a feeling, the event passes, the feeling passes. Now let's go back to the original presentation when I talked about the brain. We can affect our moods by where we direct our thoughts, yay? Okay. So if I direct my thoughts at something happy, something that I did well, a job well done, a performance, knowledge acquisition, something I'm proud of, I'm going to have happy chemicals flowing through my brain. It's going to feel pretty good. I'm going to have some of that, really good, serotonin and epinephrine and norepinephrine and all that stuff. And I'm not going to get the cortisol that comes along with stressful activities. I might even get a little adrenaline because I might think I could replicate it. So in a way, happiness actually drives further exploration, and happiness, excitement feed each other. So if I look back on my life and I'm really proud of things that I've done, like really good videos that got thousands of views and went viral, then I might want to replicate that. And that could be a source of frustration maybe, which, by the way, I didn't address this in the sadness video, but frustration is actually on the sadness continuum, not the anger continuum, because frustrated, literally defined, is being blocked. It's a blockage. And what's a blockage other than an unmet expectation? So if I'm expecting to do something and I get diverted or detoured, my path is otherwise frustrated, I can have an experience of sadness. How does that point back to joy? Well, if I'm pursuing joy and I'm getting frustrated, that could really teach my brain not to go do that again, because I opened myself up to vulnerability. I wanted to achieve success. I didn't get it. And now I'm left with this sad, empty feeling that ain't that. So that actually could deter me from pursuing stuff. Interestingly, people have this weird aversion of success. We hear, fear of success, right? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't everybody want to be successful? My interpretation of that is that people tend not to go out and pursue success in order to get happy, simply because if they arrive there, they know that it's fleeting. You can only stay there for so long before somebody knocks you off your perch or you have to perform again. I'm thinking of work performance reviews, contracts that get renewed, certainly team championships. You can only have one a season, and then the next season, it's not yours anymore. It's up for grabs for the next people. So I can understand why people would maybe want to avoid chasing dreams, because they might fail And if they have that fear of failure, it's not really a fear of success so much as it is they have a lack of confidence to be able to do it over again. So I can understand that. Here's the thing though. We've all succeeded in something in life. And I don't care where your psychological state is right now. I don't really care what your history is. The fact that you're watching this video means that you've survived. You may chalk that up and say, oh, Jake, you're just being glib and you're being a smart aleck. Not at all. Not everybody makes it. Especially if you've encountered violence or trauma or neglect or abuse or harm or any of those other nasty, awful things that people go through in life. To be able to be sitting here listening to me talk on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching this, you're resilient. I'd say that's a reason to be happy. That brings me to another point. A lot of people have heard self-esteem before, right? Self-esteem is how we feel about ourselves. Self-efficacy, however, is not something that's discussed very often. The difference between the two is while this is what we feel about ourselves, this is what should give rise to it. And I'm aware that I just used a should there, even though I have a video that says we should not be shoulding on ourselves. The reason we want self-efficacy to inform our self-esteem is because self-efficacy is comprised of those things that can't ever be taken away from us, like resilience. Nobody can ever take away your resilience. If you bounce back from something, that's it. Think boxing. You get knocked down, you get up again. Knocked down, you get up again. They only allow you to do that like 3 times in a round before they just call a fight. But if you've done it once, you've done it. Nobody can ever take that away from you. So if you were raised in foster care, or you were fired a zillion times from work, or you lost a bunch of games in your life and you're never on a winning team, you kept going and you kept going and you kept going. That's a great reason to have good, high self-esteem. That's a great reason to be happy and really enjoy who you are and where you are in life. You can access that anytime. Now beware though, because I wouldn't just do a rah-rah speech without pointing out the potential pitfalls so that you're aware of them. We can have negative self-efficacy too. I can reflect back on all the times that I screwed up, the people I let down, the wrongs that I committed, the transgressions that I've perpetrated, willfully or otherwise, incidentally, it doesn't matter. If I let my mind dwell there, guess what other chemicals I'm going to have flowing through my brain? I'm going to have that cortisol. I'm going to have those stress hormones. I'm going to have those chemicals that I don't want, that drag me into a pit of despair, if you will. That's not good. And then I'm going to have bad self-esteem from it too. I'm going to think pretty poorly of myself. I may even have self-contempt. Self-esteem can come from lots of things. Most people think of it as the fancy Zephyr Wellness t-shirt that I'm wearing, or the sweet haircut that I got from Mark Cordano at Gentleman's Barber, by the way. Great guy. Love Gentleman's Barber. If you're in the Reno area, check him out. They didn't pay me to say that. I just love the dude. The car that I drive, the house that I own, the job that I have, the business, whatever, even my family. Now, sounds horrible, but all those things are temporary. They can go away at any time. I don't want them to, but they don't define me. They're just byproducts of my decisions in life. The things that I've done that no one can ever take away, the things of which I'm proud and ashamed, that's going to make up my self-efficacy. If I hang my self-esteem hat on the things that are temporary and fleeting, I'm in big trouble. Because now how I feel about myself is going to go up and down based on a haircut, or whether I snag my t-shirt on the whiteboard, or my business goes under, or my house catches fire. I don't want any of those things to happen. But they're not anchored to my personality. They're not anchored to my character. I will be very sad. Go watch the sadness video if you want to learn about that. I'll be very, very sad. And that's temporary too. So we don't want to identify ourselves and our self-efficacy and then reflect it through our self-esteem based on temporary things like emotions and moods and mental illness diagnoses, which I know is a very popular thing to do. I am bipolar. No, you're not. That's not who you are. That's a thing you're dealing with. It'll go away. You work at it. I am a broken arm. It sounds ridiculous, but nobody says I am a broken arm. Lots of people say I am depressed. Maybe temporarily, sure. I am hungry too, but you know how I solve that? I go eat. How do you cure your depression? focus on the things that get you happy, right? I oversimplify this to make the point that it's possible. So I don't want people watching this video to think, happiness is out of my reach, or I was just born into anger. No, you weren't. Absolutely not. Categorically dismiss that. And if that's the case, my profession would cease to exist anyway, because we couldn't help you. You let that sink in for a second. We want to encourage people. We want to point out the happiness that they could have. We want to be purposely drawing Giants colors on the whiteboard and then allowing ourselves to feel that happiness derived from things that will never go away. Good performance, job well done, knowledge acquisition, talents that we have. If I anchored my self-esteem from a self-efficacy that was fleeting, like say a physical ability, like the ability to dunk a basketball, which I used to be able to do, surprise, surprise, at the towering height of 6'0"3/4, I could dunk. I can't anymore. I'm old. And my knee hurts and my back hurts and I'm kind of breaking down. I'm still a valuable individual. I still have good self-efficacy. That was just something that gave me happiness in the moment that was fleeting. It wasn't my identity. But when I think back on it, I can channel that moment flying through the air, dunking, not just one, I did it a million times. And that brings me real enjoyment. I can channel that right into the present moment, no matter what else is going on in my world. You have the same ability. We all do. We all have the brain power to notice this stuff and then focus on it and derive great joy from whatever we want, wherever we are. Isn't that cool? If you're curious to learn more, keep watching the rest of the videos. I'd love your feedback. We love taking feedback. info@zephyrwellness.org is where you can reach me, or leave a comment in the comments section. Please don't make it nasty. That just bums me out. But you know what it doesn't do? It doesn't affect my self-efficacy. Thanks for watching. Please share this around. Subscribe if you'd like, and we'll see you on another video. In the meantime, we wish you all great mental wellness.